This is the xSports Network.
Great food is just a short drive to Hinie's BBQ in Lawrenceburg. Mouth-watering is just one way to describe the amazing flavors of the best piece of Hinie in town. When you dig into a plate of pulled pork, hand-chopped brisket, chicken, wood-fire oven pizzas, and the menu goes on. Wash it all down with a swig of Hinie Shine lemonade and then make your way over to the gift shop full of Hinie sauces, snacks, and more. Hinie's BBQ, Highway 43 North in Lawrenceburg.
Tennessee Flight Training. We are training the next generation of pilots. Come and see why Tennessee Flight Training is the best way to learn to fly. Tennessee Flight Training. The skies are calling.
Tired of driving into the city every time you need appliances, furniture, or heck, just about anything? Next time, stay local and come to Swap and Shop Center. We have everything you want, from computers to furniture, major appliances, lawn and garden tools, electronics, you name it. Our #1 goal is to get you the items you need at a price you can afford. We even offer 120 days same as cash financing. We won't be undersold. We specialize in service after the sale. We pick up where everyone else leaves off. Swap and Shop Center, family owned and operated in Lawrenceburg for over 61 years.
For the best at-home care in Lawrence County, the Summit at Home is the right company for you. We have a friendly staff over 25 that is trained, educated, and qualified to help with all your needs within your household. Our non-medical services include transportation, housework, dressing, and companionship. We are also covered by most long-term care providers. For more information, please call 931-762-2310.
Story and Lee, the Tennessee Valley's most dynamic furniture store, featuring our Made in America galleries with solid wood dining and bedrooms, leather furniture, mattresses, and so much more. You want it? We've got it. With our 3 acres of showroom and our huge warehouse, we're sure to have exactly what you want. And it's all ready to be delivered to your home absolutely free. Just try that anywhere else. We are Story and Lee.
Southern Tennessee Orthopedics welcomes orthopedic surgeon Dr. Paul Thomas. Count on Dr. Paul Thomas, podiatrist Dr. James Barksdale, and nurse practitioner Doug Ead at Southern Tennessee Orthopedics to keep your life in motion. Injuries and foot pain can rob you of the activities you enjoy most. So our team is here, close to home, to address the pain and to get you moving again. Southern Tennessee Orthopedics. From the routine to the unforeseen, you can count on us. To learn more, visit SouthernTennesseeMedicalGroup.com or to schedule an appointment, call 931-762-4400.
Hit a home run with the team at United Country Southern Tennessee Realty.
On the web, 931-321-8226.
Tommy Johnson, 931-722-4840.
Tyler Webb, 731-438-2084.
Travis Caldwell's 931-629-3033.
You're safe with United Country Southern Tennessee Realty.
From the xSports Network, this is xSports Live, presented by Hinie's BBQ.
And welcome everybody here to xSports Live from Hinie's BBQ once again. I'm AJ Good, joined by Hayden Burks and Michael Marks. We have got a jam-packed show here, something we didn't think we'd probably have during the summer. We got UT Southern Baseball, UNA Softball, and we got the man, the myth, the legend, the new director, and also the old director of the Big Gold Machine, who will be joining us here today. So, guys, how's the past week been for you?
Oh, it's been fun with baseball season, still going on. NBA season finally coming to an end with Denver coming out on top against Miami, and then also the Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup. It's been a great week for sports in general.
So, winter sports officially done. The NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals are done. Obviously, the Nuggets did what we thought they were going to do, and that's winning 5 games or less.
It was a great game, especially Game 5, because Denver, they came out hot. They were knocking down shots and all that, and I wasn't surprised that Denver won that game, but I wouldn't have been surprised Miami would have won that game either. I think Miami could have got one more, But, Denver still proved that they were the best team in the league, and it shows why when you got a big guy like Jokic and another, sidekick is Jamal Murray.
Yeah, well, the Heat kind of got the bug that the Carolina had in the Stanley Cup Finals, is they just didn't have enough of those, star power. Denver, from top to bottom, they were loaded. In Miami, they have Jimmy Butler, they have Bam Adebayo, but after that it was a bunch of role players, and honestly it felt like the lights got a little bit too bright for them, and then they kind of just shined out, I guess, in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Finals just got a little bit too big for them.
It's just one of those things where, just like you guys said, the Nuggets were just that good. Charles Barkley predicted it last year. They're coming on this year, and they've got a lot of guys signed up for a long time. We might be seeing the NBA's next dynasty. I don't want to say that just yet. They got to win more than one, but they could be one of the next.
Yeah, and then another thing with how the NBA is going, and I think Denver has set the way for how the NBA teams are going to be set up from now on, because with the new collective bargaining agreement and the hard cap going on, it's kind of eliminate the possibility of super teams and all that stuff. I don't know if dynasties are going to come to an end, but super teams, I think Denver has set the path for the future of the NBA.
Yeah, and I'm talking about that collective bargaining agreement. I'm a huge fan of the end of super teams, because I feel like they're built up, they're hyped up in the entire offseason, and then 9 times out of 10 they fail. So I like, it may bring an end to dynasties as well, but I think it's good for the fandom of the sport when you let, more teams start winning. It's more interesting, because at the beginning of the season, who thought it would be the Heat and the Nuggets in the finals? It's interesting for the fans if, unless you're, a fan of one of the other 28 teams. But I think it's interesting to kind of bring in a new era of how you have to build your team.
And then you look at it, Stanley Cup Finals, that also ended in 5. The Florida Panthers were just like the Miami Heat, that 8 seed that had to fight their way. They beat some historic teams. But Vegas, almost exactly like Denver, too talented, too tough. Got that game in 5 on the home ice, and but unlike the NBA Finals, there weren't really many close games in the Stanley Cup Finals. I just think Vegas was that good.
Yeah, and like you said, it's kind of the same thing with Miami and Denver, but also I think the Panthers, it just seemed like they ran out of juice compared to the Knights, because they had to go through some really good teams. I'm not sure. The Bruins was one of the teams they had to beat.
Toronto,
all those are great teams in the NHL. So when they finally got to the Stanley Cup, it looks like they just didn't have enough juice, and the Knights just proved that they were the better team in general.
Yeah, I didn't really sit down and watch any of the full games for the Stanley Cup, but, I feel like the scores were, kind of told the tale of those games. None of them were really close enough to be like, oh, was it this play or this play? Most of them were, 4+ goal games, and, at that point you can't really make much of an excuse for any other team on that one.
Now moving ahead, we're switching things over to baseball. Obviously, Michael's pretty much showing it off right now. The ball's going to the College World Series, and what a lot of people right now, I know when they hit that kind of start of the SEC slump, I was going to be surprised if they just made it to the tournament.
Yeah.
Not only that, they're going all the way to Omaha, something we thought last year's team was going to do, but this year's team is executing that vision.
Yeah, out of the last 3 years, Tennessee, this is the second time in the last 3 years they've made it to Omaha, and I would say this is probably the least talented of the 3 teams. But this team kind of had to build their own identity. The last 2 out of the 3 years have been kind of, those big egos and stuff like that. This team had big expectations and kind of fell flat on their face around, the March-April, time frame, and they kind of had to build themselves up, so they had to build their own identity, and I like to see how this team's going to fare at a bigger stage.
Yeah, and like we talked about the other day at the Babe Ruth game, it's weird how baseball works. The Tennessee team was like one of the most dominant teams in baseball history at the college level, and they didn't even make it to Omaha.
Right.
And so this year, how they just, getting hot at the right moment, that's all it comes down to. So it's going to be exciting to see how this Tennessee team performs.
One thing I'm really looking for, not just in that game, I know they're playing LSU and probably playing the first overall pick coming up in the MLB draft, but what I'm looking forward to is we've got 5 of the 8 teams are in the top 10 in home runs hit this season. But they're going to a place that historically is hard to hit it.
Yeah,
it's a very pitcher-friendly park. The Big Ten played their tournament there, and they almost set a low for runs per game or runs in the tournament there. Came very close to doing it. So these are home run-heavy teams that are going into a pitcher-friendly ballpark.
Well, yeah, you look at the identity of some of these teams. Wake Forest, they're leading the country in home runs, but their field is so small that, you feel like once you get to Omaha, it's, I believe, like 345 down the lines and 405 to dead center.
And the ball does not travel there.
It's a huge ballpark. The ball doesn't travel. So, some of these teams that, live and die by the home run ball, they're going to kind of have to reinvent how they play out there.
Yeah, and then also, like you said, other teams are going to have to adapt to the neutral zone and all that because they've been used to playing at home fields and, the ball carries it different ways and all that stuff. So it's just going to be challenging for those teams. But also, I think it's going to be interesting of who's going to adapt to it well and who's not. So we'll see who comes out top this upcoming Saturday.
And it's what it seems like in that new ballpark. The team that you least expect, like Mississippi State 2 years ago, Ole Miss this past year, the ones that end up winning it. Well, Mississippi State's, a lot of that had to do with COVID knocking out some teams, but hey, they were the least sick, I guess you could put that. So that's how they won a national championship. And also some big news that came out yesterday. I don't know why this is a thing, but it's a thing. We're releasing football schedules a year in advance. So 2024 for the SEC is out. We're done with divisions. Tennessee's came out, and I don't know if they got the worst luck of the draw there, but they didn't get it easy. Not that any team has it easy in the SEC.
Well, I'm kind of mad, me being the Tennessee fan I kind of wanted to match up with Texas. I wanted to either, it be in Austin, whether it be in Knoxville, get that Nico versus Arch, rivalry going. But, I feel like, compared to what, some teams, because I think Vanderbilt probably got the worst schedule out there. They have a gauntlet to run through. I think Tennessee was probably, on the harder side. They have the Alabama, the Florida, the Georgia, the Oklahoma. It's not going to be easy, but I think it's going to be a fun schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be fun for Tennessee because also, like you said, it's going to be tough for them because they're going to be playing mostly really good SEC teams. Vanderbilt, they're on the rise. Arkansas, Oklahoma joined the SEC. Kentucky, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, all those good teams. So it's going to be, and Mississippi State.
Yeah,
they're going to be playing them again. So it's going to be fun watching this Tennessee season upcoming, but also the year after that with all the new teams.
I'm looking at it. Everyone's here right now. Vanderbilt's got Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, and South Carolina at home.
Wow.
Now, I saw this stat. Vandy is 8-3 all time against Texas.
Yep.
Which is crazy, but they got to go to LSU, to Auburn, to Missouri, to Kentucky. They've already won at Kentucky, so there's that. Alabama's got Georgia, Auburn, Missouri, and South Carolina at home, but go to LSU, to Tennessee, to Oklahoma, and to Vanderbilt. I'm looking at everyone's. No one's got an easy road. Yeah. I'm trying to find
Texas
A&M.
They got the
Texas
A&M's got a lighter schedule compared to most teams because Georgia and Alabama didn't get off it easy at all.
Well, I can see where A&M got it a little bit easy, but they still got LSU.
Yeah,
all these teams in the SEC now, it's going to be tough for everybody.
Yeah, going to South Carolina, they already lost there a couple times.
Yeah,
so a lot of. Well, again, this is all a year in advance. Who knows what's going to happen by the time we get there. Well, coming up next, we've got the members of the UT Southern baseball team, couple of local kids that will be joining us. It's coming up next on xSports Live.
Southern Craft Manufacturing is dedicated to creating the finest quality and greatest value products in the death care industry. Southern Craft has perfected blending old world craftsmanship with modern manufacturing technologies to create a full line of steel, wood, and corrugated caskets. Family owned and operated for over 30 years, Southern Craft is now looking to hire local and regional truck drivers, welders, and production workers, each with great starting pay and a benefits package. For more information, visit SouthernCraftMFG.com.
Are you tired of missing out on family life just to be treated like another truck number? Since 1986, Southeast Cares has been a family-operated business based in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Being family-owned ourselves, we understand the importance of family, which is why we value it above all else. With our large number of dedicated lanes and our friendly staff, we are able to evenly divide your home time with the amount of time you spend on the road. We offer multiple benefits with large company pay, all while keeping a small company environment. For more information, visit our website at southeastcarriers.com or check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
Rent Right Equipment has all the tools you need to get the job done. From bobcats to trenchers to augers to lifts, we have a large variety of equipment for every project, big or small. Need a new mower? We have you covered there too. With great brands Hustler and Big Dog, Rent Right is ready to serve all your equipment needs. Call today and reserve your equipment from Rent Right Equipment in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
There are now more ways to save at Quick Mart. Become a Quick Club member and easily earn rewards on qualifying purchases at Quick Mart convenience stores using the Quick Club app, available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. To save on fuel for work, use the Fuel Rewards Pro app to earn 5 cents a gallon on work fill-ups and redeem the savings for yourself. To get started, visit fuelrewards.com/pro or download the app in the Apple App Store and Google Play.
This is the xSports Network.
And welcome back, everybody, here to xSports Live, joined by a couple members of the UT Southern Firehawk baseball team. We've got Summertown's own Logan Parrott, and we've got Loretto's own Josh Porter. So, guys, I'd like to thank you for joining us here on xSports Live tonight.
We appreciate you having us.
So you guys had a pretty good season this past year, obviously compared to what you had the year before. You know, what was kind of the difference between 2022 and 2023?
Well, I can't really speak for the previous year because my first year was this past year.
Right.
So, but I just know we hit the ball really well from what the other guys have told me on the team from last year. Yeah. We hit the ball really well, and I mean, played some pretty good defense. I guess that was just the difference maker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Logan, you obviously were there, so you.
Yeah, definitely a lot better hitting, but more contact, more home runs, lot more on the base, better pitching. I mean, we were just there this year.
Stole a lot of bags this year too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Big difference. So, I mean, right. Josh, it was obviously your freshman year. You hit 324, 5 homers, 29 RBIs. Was that as good as you thought your first year in college ball could go?
It was pretty all right. I feel like I probably could have done some things better, but that's just part of playing the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of nervous your first year and getting used to everything. So, I mean, it wasn't bad. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Probably could have been better.
Logan, now is this your final? Did you just have your final year? Or are you coming back?
I'm coming back for a 5th year.
Okay, so you come back for 5th year, but this past year, big improvement from the year before. You went 5-2, a 3.72 ERA. I'm looking at some of the stats here. You shut down the number 6 team in the country. You also had the conference's only complete game shutout this past year. What was the difference between your first year at UT Southern into this year?
Well, first year it got cut short with COVID.
Right.
And so didn't get really much college experience there. But then through the next couple of years started to build and I lost what I was going to say. Yeah, started to build up. And right there this year really worked with a knuckleball. And everyone in the conference was afraid of, just knew I had a knuckleball. And that's mostly what they were looking for. And I'd sneak by fastball, curveball by them. But knuckleball made me a little successful, and of course the team behind me making plays, good our good hitting, made us really successful this year.
Now, is this a Tim Wakefield knuckleball or R.A. Dickey knuckleball? Because if you're talking about 15 miles an hour difference between the two.
Well, I don't really know.
Hey, I will say Bird's knuckleball or Logan's knuckleball, it's gross.
Yeah.
I've got the opportunity to stand in there a few times with him, like in the preseason and whatnot, and it's nasty. It's some nasty stuff.
I've faced a few knuckleballers, and I only saw one in college. He was a sidearm knuckleballer. It was awful, like one of the worst experiences of my athletic career. But it's not an easy pitch to hit. I mean, it's just crazy that you can think you can throw something that far, that hard, and it doesn't move.
Well, it looks perfect coming out of the hand.
It does.
It always falls off one way or another.
It goes right there and dips here and
it's
dances
wild.
around.
I just try to throw it down the middle and just wherever it does, it does.
So if you had a couple like uh-ohs where it didn't do what you're supposed to do and someone hit it 450
they usually go over
feet.
the fence.
All right, Aiden.
I was just going to ask you guys, I go to UT Southern with y'all and all that. I've been able to, come to a few of y'all's games, just the jump between last year and then this past season where y'all finished 5th in the Mid-South, went 33-18. The year before that, y'all went 14-33, so basically flipped the record. But also, what's the expectation for this upcoming year? Not only we're leaving the Mid-South and we're going to the Southern States, what's the expectation for y'all?
Well, hopefully what we want to do is just build off what we did last year. Well, this year, build off what we did this year, and take it to the next season, and
Well, if we can keep swinging the bat the way we're doing, like Logan said, from this past season to next season, I think we'll be great. Probably expectation-wise, probably try to make it farther than we did this past year because we got
shouldn't have got put out, but we got put out in the first round of conference.
Yeah, I remember that y'all got put out in Pikeville. Y'all had a good into the season. It just kind of cut short because you didn't have a good series with Pikeville and you got put out. But what's something you can use that to get motivation for next season, and also like I said, motivation wise, you beat 3 top 25 teams. Faulkner, let's see who else was it? I can't remember who all. Cumberland's, and then also and Cumberland, both Cumberlands and Cumberland. So just using that, what can you use that for motivation to get the guys ready for next year?
Well, that shows us that we can for sure. We can always any given day go out there and beat any given team. You know what I mean? So we know that going in, and so if we just keep our confidence and keep playing the way we're playing, I think we'll be successful.
Yeah, I mean, baseball is probably the most inconsistent sport out there. Just the ability to kind of, use something from last year to fuel you similarly to, like, what happened to Tennessee. Everybody had that picture of Notre Dame's dog pile on Lindsey Nelson Stadium, and now they're going back to Omaha. Just being able to steadily build off of what happened last year, I think y'all be in a good spot this next year.
Yeah, and like Hayden mentioned, you guys are changing leagues. How much do you know about the Southern States? Have you faced any of those teams? Have you been given any heads up about what you guys are about to face going there?
My freshman year, we were in the Southern States Conference, and we got to play 18 games. We went 15-3 actually, and that my freshman year, and we got to experience a couple of the teams. But this year, we never get to face Faulkner my freshman year, but this year we got to face Faulkner, and that was about the only team from the Southern States.
Yeah.
I know Mobile's in there, and I hear they're pretty good. I still don't know all these teams, given it's my first year in college, but I always hear Mobile's pretty good, and I think they may have went pretty deep this year, but Faulkner, Mobile, that's about it. All I know.
Yeah, I got to cover it at one of my 4 stops in TV news, Middle Georgia State, when I was working in Macon, Georgia. So got to see a lot of the Southern States Conference football. They didn't have football. Baseball and basketball-wise, softball-wise, and that sort of stuff. Speaking of softball, Logan, sisters on the UT Southern softball team as well. What's it like having a relative, having a sibling playing literally next door to you?
It's nice. I mean, I can just go over and watch her practice anytime I want to, watch her games. It's nice having a sibling there because, you need help on something, she can help. And if she needs help on something, I can help her, which since I've been there for longer, I help her more usually.
Did you ever, when the coach isn't looking, just kind of, peek your head? Because, we all know how close those fields are to each other. Right. Any foul ball on either side ends up on your field most of the time. But you ever find yourself just kind of peeking around, making sure the coach ain't looking to see what's going on over there?
Nah, I usually just stay away, let her do her own thing.
Also, your family's got a rich history over there in Summertown. Your dad was on the 92 state championship team. Your sister's got some titles to her name. Just what's it like having that family legacy that you guys have set?
Oh, it's nice. It's a big work too. It's like trying to get my own sort of championship win, and pretty big stuff to look up to.
Yeah, Josh, you come from a very tradition-laden program over at Loretto. Right. You guys had a lot of success at your time there, and everything that's happened with Loretto. What's it like coming from a program like that?
You just expect a lot wherever you play. I mean, you're kind of taught at Loretto how to win. You know what I mean? And so you kind of bring that with you. Yeah. You know what it takes. Yeah. You know what you got to do, and you can't play around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And UT Southern, or used to be Martin Methodist, has a good history bringing kids in from the area. What's it like being able to play this close to home and still have a career outside of high school?
Oh, it's cool. I mean, my parents. I mean, we live 20 minutes away from Pulaski, so my parents can come to all the home games, and I still get to see all my buddies from school when I can. So it's nice.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same thing. Family can just come watch all the home games, and if you need to go home and get something, you can just drive down the road, get whatever you need.
Yeah, because I tend to forget a lot of things, so I make a lot of runs back to the house during the day.
Oh, yeah,
you and me both.
Yeah, the joys of being that close. See, both of my schools, one was 3 hours away, the other was 10 hours away. So if you forget something, Walmart.
Out of luck, yeah.
Like this kid who's
I've forgotten codes and AirPods and stuff like that. UPS has become my best friend.
Yeah.
Hayden, you got anything?
I'm good, AJ.
So, I mean, obviously, you guys have made this adjustment going to. What's the biggest thing? What's the thing you would tell kids who are moving up from the high school level up to the college level? What's the biggest thing you would tell them?
Keep working, and get your name out there. Like, if you need to, get play on a good summer ball team that travels to colleges and plays at the colleges, or I didn't have much luck at showcases, so I hired a recruiter, and he put my name out there, and that's how Mark Methodist, which is UT Southern now, that's how they saw me. That's how I got recruited there.
Well, advice I'd give to any high school player wanting to play is just be able to keep up with the game. Because I know for me, one of the biggest shocks coming into college was how much the game sped up. Like everybody throws harder, runs faster, hits the ball a lot harder, and the game just speeds up. And I just think you got to be able to. If you can't keep up, you're not gonna be able to play.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing, I think.
And also a lot of exciting stuff going on at UT Southern. You guys are switching conferences. There's been a lot of excitement. What's it like being on campus with all the success that the athletic programs have had lately?
It's pretty cool. Everybody. It's a smaller college, so everybody almost kind of knows everybody. It's kind of just like a small town, so everybody's always talking about sports, and we always try to go to basketball games like as baseball players as we can.
Yeah, you guys some of the ones that talking trash on that front row.
Not going to comment on that. Not going to comment on that.
I've heard it. I know. You one of them too, Logan?
I usually don't. I'm not usually there. I'll watch it on TV though.
That's one of my favorite parts about going to those
games. At the opposing players.
The kind of the back and forth. Not only do you have with the players, but what you have with the officials. I think the officials enjoy it more than what the players do.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right, guys, I'd like to thank you here for stopping by xSports Live. Good luck on the coming season, and hope to have you guys back here during the spring and also back here next summer as well.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, coming up next, we got members of the North Alabama softball team. That's next here on xSports Live from Hinie's BBQ.
From our humble beginnings to today, Parks Lumber Company has continuously served Lawrence and surrounding counties for over a century. Although we started as a small lumber yard in 1896, we have grown to include everything you need to make your dream project come to life. No matter your building needs, our experienced staff will be with you every step of the way to ensure you receive the highest customer service and attention to detail you deserve. Visit us at 106 2nd Street or on Facebook. We guarantee you will see working with PLC is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Got primary care? Find your way to better health with primary care by One Stop Medical. With decades of combined experience, you'll find a one-on-one relationship just like the old days, but with the convenience and technology of today. When One Stop Medical does primary care, it's the best. Call today for an appointment and find your way to healthy living. Serving Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, and Hohenwald. Phone 931-244-8220. Primary care by One Stop Medical at its best.
McMaster's Home Gallery, where you'll always get a special price every day. Shop their new showroom full of name brand furniture, sofas, recliners, dining and bedroom suites, Serta bedding, lots of tables and chairs just to match your decor. McMaster's Home Gallery also has GE appliances. Stop by on Highway 43 in Loretto or call 853-6140.
Being raised in Tennessee, we believe in the importance of family and community. Creating a positive experience at our family-owned and operated business is one of the ways we share that belief.
Being in an accident can be extremely stressful. When it came time for my repairs, Mashburn's made it easy.
I am lucky to have a wonderful company in my community like Mashburn's Collision Center. It's reassuring to know that I'm in good hands because their work is second to none.
We pride ourselves that the Mashburn name is one of the most trusted in Lawrence County since 1981. Mashburn's Collision Center. Let our family take care of yours.
Are you looking for a non-factory job environment? Livingstone Freight Solutions is a 3PL company that began managing warehouses in Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. With our multiple shifts and experienced management team, our goal is to give you as an employee a safe family work environment and competitive wages. We offer a wide variety of employment opportunities from forklift drivers to management level positions. We also strive to offer a competitive benefit package and PTO options. For more information or to apply, visit us at livingstonefs.com or give us a call at 931-269-3255.
Great food is just a short drive to Hinie's BBQ in Lawrenceburg. Mouth-watering is just one way to describe the amazing flavors of the best piece of Hinie in town when you dig into a plate of pulled pork, hand-chopped brisket, chicken, wood-fire oven pizzas, and the menu goes on. Wash it all down with a swig of Hinie Shine lemonade and then make your way over to the gift shop full of Hinie sauces, snacks, and more. Hinie's BBQ, Highway 43 North in Lawrenceburg.
This is the xSports Network.
Know this.
And welcome back here to xSports Live, brought to you by Hinie's BBQ here. We're joined by two local members of the North Alabama softball team. We got Haley Jones and Georgia Lynn. Guys, thanks for coming by here tonight.
Yes, thanks for having us.
A historic season, obviously, that you guys had. You got so close to the NCAA tournament, but you won a lot of games, beat some good programs along the way. Just describe what 2023 was like.
Yeah, so this year especially, we actually got off to a sort of bumpy start, and I know the senior class were like, oh, man, we don't know how this is going to go. And but throughout the season, I think our team really, really came together, and especially when tournament time came, we were, no man left behind. We were complete 100% going for it, and we gave everything we had. I couldn't have asked for a better way to end my senior year for sure.
Yeah.
Haley? Like she said, we started off it was kind of rough at first, and then we kind of when season and postseason got there, we kind of started coming together, getting used to everybody being here and there and stuff. And so I think we just came together at the end and tried to push through to the end and came up a little short.
The tournament you guys played, and I think it felt like, I know I was watching a lot of them, every game was either a one-run game, an extra inning game,
yes.
A lot of high stress because you had to get into that playing game, then win that to move on. So what was that experience like, knowing that it felt like you were playing for your lives every game?
Oh, it definitely did. And not to just keep talking senior, but there was multiple innings where I was like, man, that was my last at bat. Just because I get through and I'm like, we're down by one. And it's crazy because we had so many rain delays. We'd be playing, it's like rain delay.
Yeah.
I don't think we actually had a true 7-inning game. Everything went into extra innings or it was rain delayed. But it was a fun time. I really, really enjoyed it, and definitely in clutch moments, we came through in clutch moments.
Yeah.
I would say almost all of our games went into longer than probably any softball game I've ever played before.
Yeah.
But I feel like for the most part we were just having fun. It wasn't all tense all the time, but nobody expected us to be there.
Yeah.
So we were just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Georgia and Macy and Taylor, we were just having fun with them for our last go around as that team, and it was just. I just had a good time.
Yeah.
And every team you knocked off. You talk about Liberties, and you got Central Arkansas. It just seemed like you were just climbing that ladder.
Yes.
And it wasn't just the more confidence you got. I know you saw them during the regular season, 3 games each, but once you get them in that tournament, that one game was just the confidence.
Right.
Continued to rise.
We've been there longer too, so we kept making jokes that they haven't played in this heat yet. We've been here for 5 days already. They just showed up. So because we played at Stetson for our last conference series before there, so we were there for a week almost. By the time Central and Liberty got there, we haven't won a Liberty game. That was our first since I've been here. That was our first Liberty win. We had we didn't play them this year. They split our conference, so half plays one, and so Central we got them one game this year. We won one. And then Liberty, we were just going. We were like, hey, defense has got to be on because it's going to be a hitter's battle with our pitchers. And we pulled through. We got the runners on in the right times and scored them in. So it was great.
Yep.
Georgia, you're wrapping up your career.
Yes.
But I've looked at your numbers before I came here. Your career 309 hitter. You had 31 home runs, 100 RBIs. Just what were these 4 to 5 years like for you at North Alabama?
So one of the things is everyone has their goals, and mine was always just to be the best I could be out there. And I know that sounds like very cliche and everything, but one of the things that if anyone can listen and going into college, have the confidence that you know who you are as a player and know what you need to do to get better and know how you need to practice. Because when I first got to college, I was 3 hours away from home. So I was having to learn, hey, how do I practice by myself without my dad? Because my dad was one of my mentor growing up. That's who I worked with. So how do I work and find out what I need to do by myself? So figured that out that year. Came back to UNA, was closer to home. I was able to have that, so now I get double. I knew how to fix it if I was on the road, but if I was back home, I could call down and be like, hey, I need you to throw some to me. I really need some reps. Yeah. So the home runs and stuff were awesome. Last year was definitely – I was going for gold, man. And not that I wasn't this year, but I was like, man, everything just happened the right way for me last year. Not that it didn't this year. I wouldn't have asked for a better season, but it's one of those you have last year. and you're going into this year like, man, like I was up for fan like preseason like player of the year type thing, and in that moment it almost gets a little selfish because you're like, man, like I did so good last year, but last year ultimately doesn't matter anymore, right? So I think it ended up going to like Caroline Hudson or something at Liberty, and she's phenomenal. She's a phenomenal player. She ended up, I think, with top ASUN is one of the top ASUN hitters this year too. But all that being said, like the goals and stuff are awesome. That's at the end of the day, that's what you need to shoot for, and the rewards and stuff come after. Like it's good seeing all the work put like this last year just coming together, and just you see the results of it. Because sometimes all the work behind scenes, you don't see anything. You're like, man, why am I still doing this? Why am I still doing this? And it ended up coming full circle this year, so I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Haley, you just wrapped up your sophomore season. You're also a career 309 hitter. Also impressed. Also impressed. You've got 62 RBIs, 64 runs scored. You're also a 974 fielding percentage.
Yes.
Just you've had a prominent role on the team since the moment you got there. What have these last 2 years been like for you?
They've been amazing. Like I love UNA. Like it's just like, coming from a small town, you go to like a not really as bigger, but bigger than Summertown, Lawrence County, And so I was like kind of nervous going in, like that it wasn't going to feel like family, like it was going to be, weird. Because some of the girls I played with was people I played with since I was 3. Yeah. So going to Florence and then them making it feel like family was like I feel like a confidence booster altogether. So like I feel like for me the biggest thing is like having confidence in myself, but like preparing that full week, like doing whatever I could the whole week to get prepared for that weekend series or that weekend tournament. And then at the end of the day, that's all I could do, having confidence in yourself going into the next series and all that stuff. So,
guys?
Well, first off, Georgia, congratulations on an incredible career.
Thank you.
During that tournament run, y'all were the underdogs. How does it feel like, in the dugout, knowing that, hey, we're the underdogs, we're making a run? Like, what was that feeling as a team?
We were joking. It was like, we have nothing to lose, like they're the ones worried. We're not worried. We had so much emotion that was almost, I would say, and I don't know if you agree, but that was almost running us. We were going to keep our defense up, but what was keeping us there in those hot games and those rain delays and those 3 extra innings or whatever we were running into, it was 100% emotion, because we're like, hey, we got this thing. Like we're doing awesome. Like we have a chance. Like freaking go for it. So that's definitely, I would say, that was what was running us in those games and just keeping us alive. Like that was the energy that we had.
And the thing with that postseason run, it's just one game.
Right.
You don't have to play a 3-game set against these guys.
Right.
Winning one game is not as hard as trying to take a series from these guys.
Correct.
Winning one game, that's all you got to do in 7 innings. Or for y'all, mostly more in long games. But it was kind of just incredible watching y'all go through that tournament. Always being the underdog, you have nothing to lose, so you get to play a lot more loose and not as serious. And baseball and softball is that kind of sport. When you're loose, you're playing your best.
Right.
So it was definitely fun to watch.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, Macy's not here with us tonight, but she had a great career. Looking at a 2.84 ERA, she finished 40-16 all time at UNA. For all of you, what was it like having this Lawrence County contingent over, playing high-level Division I softball?
I feel like it's pretty cool. Like,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because Lawrenceburg does a really good job or just Lawrence County in general, supporting people that go into different paths. And I think we always had that support throughout. And then once it was all 4 of us, it was like, three of us, my bad. I include Taylor and everything. There's other senior, I include her in everything. But it was always like, hey, let's go see the Lawrence County girls. Let's go see the Lawrence County girls. Hey, we're going to Florence this weekend because Haley's playing Macy and Georgia. They're all going to be there. We can go see them. So we always got a lot of support from friends and families, and a lot of little girls came and watched us from Lawrenceburg. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Now I do have a message from somebody. You could probably guess who it's from here, but I've been coaching basketball and softball for 18 years and have had the privilege of coaching all of these young ladies at one point in their life. I've got a top 5 of my all-time hardest working players I've ever coached, and these girls make up 3 of the 5. He was including Macy in this. They'll do even greater in life, and that comes from Clint Brazier.
I was about to guess.
Yeah. I think Clint has coached everybody.
Yes.
At some point. I'm starting to figure that out.
Yeah.
So, he can't be here today. He's watching his daughter at a showcase. So what was it like having Clint as a coach? Did he get ejected as much as he makes it out to be?
So I actually had Clint. I never had him for travel ball. I had him for Kaufman. I had him in middle school.
Okay.
So he was always fun to be around, and he was going to give you the reps. So he was always, hey, another rep, ground ball right here.
Yeah.
So he was always giving us what we needed, especially like when I played for him, so that I couldn't have asked for anything more from him.
See, I played with Clint more in basketball. It's a different sport, but, just like Georgia said, he's always pushed you to be better, and he's always been a supporter. I played with Jenna just about my whole life, so, just me and Jenna and Kaylee, all three of us have always played together, so, he's always been there.
Yeah. Now, describe what the A-Sun is like. Geographically, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Eastern Kentucky, Austin Peay, and all the way down the Florida Gulf Coast.
Right.
You guys are. What's it like having to play these teams? Them come to you, you go to them. The travel schedule. It's a lot. I understand.
Yes. So just in comparison, I know some conferences, especially mid-majors, you have some that are a little lesser than, and it's just the competition's not there. ASUN is very, very competitive, and I didn't realize that until I got in it, because I was in OVC my freshman year, and moving to ASUN, you get Liberty, and Central Arkansas came last year. That was their first year in, but even Lipscomb and all the Florida schools, they're always tough. They're always tough, and you never had a game that you were just going to blow out. It was always going to be a dogfight no matter who you were playing, especially Kennesaw State. They're always a very top team school. So it's hard. It's very hard competition, but it makes you better, and it makes the conference better. If we just had a real crappy conference, then it's like, oh, who's ASUN? ASUN I would put up closer to your powers. They're getting up there, especially with teams like Liberty and Central who are wanting to move in. ASUN's growing a lot more. Everyone's wanting to come here, and that growth's just going to help us move up. So
when you're a two-bid league, you get two teams into the tournament. Especially with, I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding the tournament this year with some of the SEC schools that got in that shouldn't have got in. But to get two teams in from a league like that, and you guys beat them in the tournament. Also, on top of that, you have to feel pretty good about how everything
it was
ended.
crazy too, because the commentators we got told were talking about how this could be the first time ASUN had three teams go. If we pulled out, that was the only way we were going to be put in. But they said you could have North Alabama winning it, Central's still a top team, and Liberty's a top team. You'll have three ASUN teams playing for the regional tournament, and that would have been amazing. That would have been so cool. But we definitely sort of ran out of gas toward the end, and just things didn't run our way, but we still gave it our all. Yeah, absolutely.
So the travels also, is most of this bus, or do you guys get some flights
We flew to Florida, and then last year, not this past year, but the year before last, we flew to Liberty.
Yes, and the year before that, we drove to Liberty, and they said never again.
I've been there. I don't blame you. It's to the middle of nowhere. Says that's in the middle of nowhere.
It's a long way for a bus ride.
You guys got anything else?
Good.
I just remember the one game y'all had against Alabama in Florence, and I get they had that walk-off home run, or they beat y'all by one run or something like that. But I just think it was cool seeing y'all compete with a team that ended up in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Even though they went 0 for 2, they still made it into one of the final 8 teams in the country. I think that just shows a lot to where this program's headed.
Right. I agree. And that game was I
was
can
up
still
and
see
down,
it. It was. There were so many times because we scored first. We're like, guys, we got this. Like, we have the energy. And again, it was almost that underdog. Like, we have nothing to lose. If they beat us, we're supposed to lose, But if we win, it's like, haha, got Alabama. So I don't know. That was just such an experience. How many people would you end up having? Right at 5,000.
I think it was 5,000.
Right at 5,000, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such an experience because when they go and get to travel, all the big SEC teams, they experience that kind of crowd all the time. And something for us to bring closer to home that we got to experience was phenomenal. Like, I can still see the people in outfield, just on the hill, just watch. It was awesome.
Well, also
it was so
that
cool.
game we had 2 almost home runs.
Haven would have had 2 home runs. That would have been a completely different ball game.
Running into the fence,
running over the fence.
That would have changed the ball game completely.
Right.
Well, I just remember the night of that game. That led off SportsCenter that night. It's just live from Florence, Alabama, and you hear that on SportsCenter on ESPN. That's awesome.
Right.
Just to see a bunch of big teams coming close to home, and y'all gave them everything you had.
Right.
I mean, you look at where North Alabama athletics is as a whole. You know, obviously they made that big announcement, that big facility that's coming in. I mean, you guys, other than some of the flooding issues, have a pretty nice facility.
We actually just got a new indoor facility.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yes.
So, I
It
mean,
is very nice.
things are certainly looking up for UNA. I mean,
Yes.
other than men's basketball, you guys have been the closest to make it to the tournament. Let's talk about all the things that are happening for UNA and how the projections are, taking it in the right direction.
Yep. It's growing, and I know Cozy, our coach, was actually talking about this the other day, how freshmen, it used to be the thing, you got to stay in the dorms. They can't keep people in the dorms anymore because there's so many people coming in, and I think that's so good for the community, even places like Lawrenceburg, because it's showing Lawrenceburg people, hey, you can still go to UNA and have a great college experience, even though it's 45 minutes down the road, right? You have your athletics, you have the school, you have, of course, Leo DeLine, can't miss him, but you just, it's an experience that's not so far from home.
Yes. Now Haley, obviously, you've still got a couple more years left in Florence. What are you looking forward to, knowing that, Georgia and them set the bar pretty high here, making it that far? So what's it like for the rest of the team?
I mean, we have a bunch of people that we that are going to step up. I mean, obviously we got some big shoes to fill. So, I mean, we got to step up and get better and, keep progressing for the years to come. So
you guys are going to be adding another Lawrence County person. Briley Dover is going to be making
I'm
her way.
super excited about her coming. So, yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I'd like to thank you for stopping by xSports Live tonight, and obviously good luck in what you guys got going on. Hopefully we'll have you on this time next year.
Hopefully.
That one was terrifying, was it?
Not too bad. I'm just
solid.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Well, coming up next, we got the old/new director of the Big Gold Machine, Daryl Boston. He's joining us next here from Hinie's BBQ on xSports Live.
It really matters during the ball game. I realize that in high school sports, we don't have the last names on the back of jerseys usually, but the question is often asked, are you playing for the name on the front or the name on the back? The same should be considered spiritually. Paul said in Philippians 1 and verse 21, for me to live as Christ and to die as gain. So who are we truly living for? What name are we trying to promote? Is it the name of Christ, the name of Christian? And that message brought to you by your friends at the Leoma Church of Christ.
Whether you're looking to spruce up the interior or exterior of your home or business, trust Lawrenceburg Glass to provide a one-of-a-kind product. From windows to mirrors, shower doors, custom framing, storefront installations, and everything in between, Lawrenceburg Glass takes pride in our quality craftsmanship and strong attention to detail. With us, your customer experience always exceeds expectations. We're reliable, on time, and we deliver stunning results. Lawrenceburg Glass. Our passion is reflected in our work.
Lawrenceburg Flooring and More is your premier source for hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl tile, sheet vinyl, residential and commercial carpet, carpet tiles, ceramic and porcelain tile, waterproof floating floor, plus blinds and shutters. Lawrenceburg Flooring and More is also home to all name brands and can tackle projects big and small. Installation? You're covered with installers who've got years of experience and stand behind their work. Let Lawrenceburg Flooring and More make your design dreams a reality. 2760 Highway 43 North, or visit lawrenceburgflooringandmore.com.
Like you, our roots are in Lawrence County, providing banking for every stage of life since 1934. Lawrenceburg Federal Bank has been not just your bank, but also your friend, helping you with home loans, consumer and auto loans, and your everyday personal banking needs. Lawrenceburg Federal offers you a warm smile and personal experience, as well as the conveniences of modern-day online banking, mobile banking, and telebanking. Lawrenceburg Federal Bank, your neighbor and friend, located at 118 West Gain Street next to the courthouse.
Are you looking for the perfect refrigerator? What about a new stove or washer or dryer? It only makes sense to shop at the one place that specializes in appliances, top to bottom, big or small. And that's Kelly Appliance in Lawrenceburg. Kelly Appliance is home to all major name brands, including LG. LG makes life good with a full selection of refrigerators, cooking appliances, dishwashers, microwaves, and more, including appliances made right here in Tennessee. Family owned and family operated. Stop by Kelly Appliance on Jerry Street in Lawrenceburg today.
Whether it's popcorn, biscuits, or automotive, you need the right ingredients to achieve the best results. Heritage Automotive is proud to serve our community with a continually growing inventory. We also help our community grow by contributing to a vibrant economy which helps build schools. I'm Keith Durham, and I'm the General Manager here at Heritage Automotive, and it's my job to make sure that you're 100% satisfied. Heritage Automotive, your hometown Chevy and GMC dealer.
Hey, this is Phil Hooper. Get the look you want for your favorite school, church, or business with apparel from HD Ink Screen Printing in Leoma, Tennessee. Got a logo you need embroidered or screen printed? Let HD Ink give you the professional look that sets the bar in today's world. We do fundraisers and custom designed apparel and so much more. Call today, 931-201-2961, or come see us at our new shop located at 26 Ingram Road in Leoma. Remember, HD Ink for the look you want and the look you deserve.
Flooring sets the tone throughout your home.
For flooring that makes the right first impression, start by choosing us, Floored by Justin.
A one-stop flooring destination. Our new location stands alone for unequaled customer service and selection. Owner Justin Story's mastery of custom hardwood inlays means every room can have a custom look. Discover how the right choice of hardwood, laminate, carpet, or tile can set the tone in your home. Contact Floored by Justin today.
This is the xSports Network.
And welcome back here to xSports Live, brought to you by Hinie's BBQ. This time we're going to be changing things up a bit. We're going to the music side of things. Yeah, you won't be able to hear. Well, we're just going to have to talk loud. So we're joined here by the new/old. Everyone knows who he is. It's Daryl Boston, new director of the Big Gold Machine. And Daryl, I'd like to thank you for joining us here this evening.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm proud to be here.
Yeah, first things first, Daryl, how excited are you to be back in Lawrence County leading the Big Gold Machine again?
It's hard to describe. I'm excited to be back home. Things have kind of come full circle. I do tend to get emotional about it. I love the kids and I love music, and I just hope I can be a role model for this next group of kids that's coming through. But I'm thrilled to death to be back home and be a Wildcat. Not to take anything away from my past. I have had wonderful kids and experiences in the other places where I've taught. But I'm thrilled to be back home and be a Wildcat again.
Yes, obviously when the job come up, did you just feel that call that you know that you had to be back?
Well, they actually contacted me, and they said, do you think you would be interested in coming out of retirement? And I said, well, we can sit down and talk. So I always explore my options. So I'm out of retirement and back at it. I did miss the kids. It was nice to have a year off to recharge and get everything going again. So I guess that's where the excitement's coming from. I'm ready to get back out on the field and be with kids. Hopefully they keep me young.
Yeah, Daryl, I know that 98 season when the girls went to the state, I saw that documentary. The band was just absolutely phenomenal. And like the band, in my opinion, Lawrence County's band, low rated, just this area with you being the leader is just 100% the best around.
Well,
so like,
you.
what's the expectation for this upcoming year that we can expect from the band?
Well, hopefully to get back to that level of excellence. Things tend to go in cycles, and obviously my expectations are great. I want to get Lawrence County back to the forefront again. That was an exceptional year in '98, and what a ride it was. It was phenomenal to be at the state tournament and to be in contact with the PA announcer, Chip Walters, there at MTSU, and we kind of corresponded with each other. But I just love kids and all of these things that you all are much too kind. But I couldn't have done anything that I've done had it not been for wonderful students over the years, and a couple of you are here now, and it's just a blessing. But my expectation is to take them back to the top. Let's get back to where we once were, and make the Big Gold Machine Lawrence County High School Band a name to be reckoned with again. And it's going to take some time. It's a rebuilding process.
I was in school then. I was a junior going into that year, but I want to back up a minute. I was not a band guy at all. You can tell by looking at me. But I want to say that this guy, he played a lot in me. He was a basketball coach.
I was.
At Earl Kaufman, I was in 8th grade. And between him and Wayne Richardson, it kind of gave me a step.
Right.
So I'm glad to see you back here, and I'm glad to see, and I'm anxious to see, and I've talked to AJ off air about this, in the past few weeks once I found out that you were coming to take over the big goal machine again. And that's what I call it. Because of course you talked about it, but like I remember it. Like, I was in school with all these kids. So I know what the expectation is. So my question is, well, how are you going about getting all these kids? Because they don't have those numbers anymore. We can pull up the pictures, and we've seen them there in the documentary. You're filling out football stands just with band members. So how you gonna go about this?
Well, we've got to make sure that we got to change the culture, got to re-educate, but it's got to be fun. There's so many more opportunities for teenagers now to get out or not get out, stay at home, playing on PlayStation and things. So it's got to be fun. They've got to feel that sense of family. I want to make it a family setting. But, my job is to get out and recruit, much like, college coaches and things. And I want the kids to know, hey, this is who I am. Why don't you come join the band? I've got to get out and visit schools. I've been doing that since I've accepted the position. In the perfect world, if everybody shows up that's on my list, we're going to be up to around 60 plus this fall. And we're struggling with some things right now. I don't have enough uniforms, so I'm calling some of my friends in the area who happens to be purple and gold. Hey, can I borrow some uniforms? I know it may say something else on the sleeve, but I'll cover that up.
Right.
So the numbers, I think, will slowly get there once they see that, yes, we work hard, and I don't apologize for that. We do work hard, but it's got to be fun. And if they're not having a good time, if it's, from basketball, Mr. Richardson and I, if we didn't have a good time, we wasn't going to do it.
No.
So I want it to be fun for them, and hopefully just that perception of saying, hey, that's something I want to be a part of. And Friday nights during football season, we're all Wildcats. It's all about the spirit, school spirit and everything. Saturdays is when we do our deal. And I'm not going to lie about it. Friday night performances is kind of a dress rehearsal for us to get prepared for competition on Saturdays.
Absolutely.
And I would love to get things back the way it used to be. We used to have cheerleaders and football players come to some of our competitions with us on Saturday mornings, and it's tiresome to get in from a football game midnight on a Friday night and be back on the drill field doing dress rehearsals or run-throughs at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and then head out 2 hours. We're pretty much 2 hours from everything going to a competition. And so those kids are dedicated, just like your athletes are dedicated. And so even though it's hard work and all of those things, if the community and those young people see us in those lower grades having a good time, then hopefully the numbers will come back.
I think so. I think you're going to take it in the right direction. I have no doubt. And coming from a former Wildcat, like I'm excited. I wasn't part of this during football season, but I was in the stands. So we see things a little different now, and I'm anxious to see what it's like on a Friday night during football season.
It's fun, man. It's fun. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. We need a lot of help. I got a good show planned. If I can, I don't mean to steal your thunder. Our show theme this year is titled "This Little Light," and other than the obvious, it's going to be based around this little light of mine. We're going to do "Shine Down" by Sandy Patty. We're going to do "I See the Light" from the Disney movie Tangled, and then there'll be a percussion feature, and it'll go into Bruce Springsteen's version of "I Saw the Light," which it's pretty, it's pretty exciting tune right there. We're going to have some lights and hopefully build a prop of a lighthouse to just we're just going to have a party on the field. It's going to be fun. We're going to be shining all over the place.
When I told my wife that you were coming on, she was so excited. She said, Daryl Boston and the Big Gold Machine created an atmosphere. When she says atmosphere, what does that bring to you that you create an atmosphere?
I guess just the excitement of knowing, as I said, Friday nights is all about school spirit, and then when we get in that gymnasium and hopefully get that gym rocking, we had shirts back then in '98 that we were the sixth man.
Yeah.
And, there was one year, I think it was a sub-state game, or maybe in a regional game. I remember Mr. Dunn coming over to him, and he came and talked to him, and he says, Boston, can we at least get to halftime before you get the officials mad at us? and there's been, and I guess that's the atmosphere. I mean, I'm a sports nut.
At that point,
I love sports, you know, and we were playing Chevyville, and it was the boys' game. And Coach Insel, the girls' coach at that time, his son was on the boys' team, and they called him Bubba. That was his nickname. And I would be over there on the side, you know, impress me, Bubba, pull up and shoot. Anybody can shoot with their feet set. And he would look at me and this and that. And Mr. Freeman, who was my co-director at the time, he says, why are you talking to him? I said, well, if he's talking to me, he's not paying attention to that ball game. Yeah. So, you know, we'd try to get in their heads and everything. It was a lot of fun, So I guess that's the atmosphere. And,
it was part of the student section.
Yeah.
I mean, that band.
And, well, I've already got plans. I told my son, Devin, you asked me about him earlier. I said, what do you think if I put the pep band in referee shirts? And that whole corner in zebra shirts. How cool with our big LC on there. How cool. I'm excited. Yeah. And then start playing Three Blind Mice. Of course, Devin told me, he says, Daddy, you know I won't get to call any more Lawrence County games because you're there. I said, I'm the band director. I'm not the coach. I'm going to get on you like everybody else. But, I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't have no control over who our officials are. But I'm excited. I'm ready to get going. And football season's right around the corner. Our first game is Summertown, August the 18th. And so we need a big crowd there to support our team. And our cheerleaders are in the process of getting ready. And we won't have a complete show by then. I mean, we're going to be a work in progress for a few weeks. But everybody come out and support the Wildcats on August the 18th, opening game. Coach Marston does a good job.
We'll give you a heads up on which officials not to play Three Blind Mice with, because we want you guys to stick around. I think we've got a good right now.
Yeah.
So we might text you like, hey, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll get us all thrown out.
Give me some more. You know, I had one guy one night came over there in Lawrenceburg and in the Lawrence County gym. His name is Don Vanetta. And he says, if you'll do your job and let me do mine, we'll get along just fine. I said, but I'm doing mine better than you are. So, I mean, yeah, and I knew a lot of those officials from coaching at E.O. Kaufman. Right. And even also my years at Loretta, I was the head high school coach at Loretta for 3 years. And some of those guys was like, well, at least you're not yelling at me from the band section anymore. And they all call me Band Man.
Band Man.
So it's nice to have good rapport with those guys as well.
It is.
You know.
So obviously you've been a basketball coach. You've been a band director. Which
baseball
one's
coach.
Baseball coach? You've been a little bit of everything. So
I just love kids, man. I just like hanging out with the kids.
Yeah. I don't want to put you in the compare game. Which one's tougher? But which one's similar? But what's it like going from sports to band and the different sports into the band?
I treat it all the same. I mean, you know, in the band world, when we're at rehearsal, if something goes wrong, sometimes you have to get up in them. Same way with coaching. But I've taken the same approach. If I'm going to fuss on them and get on them, by the same token, I'm going to hug their neck and tell them I love them, especially when they do something right. You know, so it's really it's all in how you prepare. You know, you have to make a practice plan because, you know, if you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you get there?
That's it.
So I mean, I try to do. I did them all pretty much the same way. You know how our practice plans work at Kaufman. We knew what we wanted to accomplish that day at practice, and I do the same thing with band. I knew what I wanted to do, and we try to focus in on that. So I guess it's pretty much the same. You know, kids are kids, and you just got to love on them.
What's one of your favorite stories you have from non-98 girls state title? What's one of your?
That's where I was going.
One of your. Well, go ahead and tell a story. I don't want to cut you off.
I don't know, but '98, the semifinal game. I told Mr. Dunn, I said, we're out of money. I can't come back tomorrow night. And he's like, oh, yeah, you'll be back for the championship game. And Mr. Dunn actually went through Murphy Center with like a Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket, taking donations. And it was amazing to see non-Lawrence County fans putting money in the bucket to buy our tickets. Because, you know, each and every game, a lot of folks may not know this, but those band kids had to buy their own ticket, and we had to pay transportation expenses and everything. And it was nice to see that community support, and even, you know, the non-Lawrence Countyans chipping in to get the band back. I mean, that's probably that's a good memory, but there's so many from over the years. I could go back to 2001, my first year at Columbia Central, and we won contest champions. We were the state of Tennessee marching champions. That was special, and nobody, we used to tell the kids, nobody can ever take that away from you. You're always going to be a state champion.
That's right.
And again, I don't want to take anything from any of my former groups. I've been proud and loved each and every one of them, and there's been special things. This will be starting year 37, believe it or not. So over those past 36 years, there's always been something special. It's hard to recall just one because I don't want any of the kids to feel like I've left them out.
Right. Now, what's one of your funniest stories? Funniest that's, obviously streaming appropriate, but what's one of your
the funniest would be probably when Mr. Freeman and I got our first invitation to perform at Contest of Champions, the state marching championships. We came in, it was late one Saturday night. We convinced our bus drivers to take us to the square. This is when there was still a fountain on the square. And we got the buses. You're going to laugh at me, but you asked me what's the funniest. We went around the square backwards in buses, school buses, equipment trucks. And we're talking midnight, and we got out, and we just had our little band family get together at around the fountain. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, Mr. Freeman and I get shoved in the fountain. And I mean, that came from nowhere. And it was the equivalent of dumping the bucket of water on the head coach.
I got you.
I mean, there's no way to get mad about that.
Gosh, I could see Freeman.
Oh, he was livid, but
he
loved every minute of it.
Matter and fire.
He loved every minute of it. And I did too. I did too.
Well,
and that's before cell phones, so we didn't have to worry about ruining anything.
Well, if you win something like that again, I'm sure we can find a body of water to shove you into. So.
I'll gladly take it. I'll gladly take it. I just want the kids to be successful, and I tell them before every performance, when you come off the field or you come off the concert stage, and I use this expression, and you're brushing your little teefies at night before you go to bed, make sure you can say, I did my dead level best for the band today. If they can always do that, it doesn't matter. I call them Larry, Moe, and Curly in the press box adjudicating what we've done. We know where we came from, and how we've improved. As long as they improve each and every time we take the field or the concert stage, and they can say they did their dead level best, then we've been successful. And I try to instill that into them.
Awesome, Daryl. Well, it was such a blessing to have you here tonight,
thank
man.
you. It was an honor to be
great
here.
to have you here. I wish I would have played for you now. The way you got me excited for this upcoming year. We'd like to thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much for the
tonight.
invitation. You guys are mighty kind. Thank you so
Good
much.
luck.
Absolutely.
Come
Good
out
luck.
and support us.
We will. Sure do.
Well, coming up next, me and the guys will talk about the greatest players ever to not win a championship. We'll throw out the stats, have a little bit of a debate. That's coming up next on xSports Live.
Employee Resources Credit Union is an easy solution to banking, offering a personal, simple, yet modern way to bank. When you bank with ERCU, you are a shareholder, meaning you own a piece of the pie, and we make it easy with the convenience of digital banking, with service you won't find at another financial institution, including low to zero fees and incredible rates. We have the technology you need with the personal service you deserve, right here in your own neighborhood. Employee Resources Credit Union, not for profit, for service.
I'm Mike Keith, and my friends at Elliott Johnson Insurance have a great partner in Auto Owners Insurance. Auto Owners makes it easy to get life, home, car, or business insurance. Let Elliott Johnson Insurance find the Auto Owners policy that makes a difference in your life. Call Elliott Johnson Insurance at one of their 3 locations, Florence, Loretto, and Lawrenceburg. Elliott Johnson Insurance, moving forward for our clients every day.
Hey everyone, this is Landon Saunders.
And this is Nate Patterson with Cloud9 Fiber.
We're excited to finally be able to offer Lawrenceburg our blazing fast, reliable, and affordable fiber internet services.
If you're looking for a more reliable and more affordable provider, we at Cloud9 Fiber have you covered.
Plans start at $50 a month, and we can offer up to a gigabit to your home or business.
We are excited to be able to offer your first month of service entirely free. We encourage you to sign up on cloud9fiber.com or by calling 931-201-9098 so we can help you make the switch today.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
Great food is just a short drive to Heinie's BBQ in Lawrenceburg. Mouth-watering is just one way to describe the amazing flavors of the best piece of Hinie in town. When you dig into a plate of pulled pork, hand-chopped brisket, chicken, wood-fire oven pizzas, and the menu goes on. Wash it all down with a swig of Hinie Shine lemonade and then make your way over to the gift shop full of Hinie sauces, snacks, and more. Heinie's BBQ, Highway 43 North in Lawrenceburg.
This is the xSports Network.
And welcome back here to xSports Live, brought to you by Heinie's BBQ from Heinie's BBQ. It's time for our big topic of the night. Guys, we're talking about greatest players to ever not win a championship. So first things first, let's establish what kind of this one question, and I go back and forth with it personally all the time. Do you judge someone's greatness by whether or not they've won a title or not?
Yes, for me, I do.
Okay.
I think it kind of seals your resume.
Right.
Now, I don't want to take away the greatness,
Yeah.
but I think that is the stamp that seals it to get you maybe to the top.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I totally agree with Dusty. Like, resume-wise, that's like one thing. Because there's a bunch of guys that have done all kinds of things stat-wise and all that, but they just couldn't have that one thing to just kind of put the bow on top.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with Dusty.
And I'm going to be polar opposite. I don't think it has as big of an effect as most people think. Because there are guys like Robert Horry who has like 7 rings. I mean, but because and you can't blame the one player. You know, there are guys like Mike Trout that have been, I guess you could say just really unlucky with the organization they've been in, and you can't like kind of just seal their greatness with a poor organization that can't put the players around them to help them win a ring.
Yeah. The big thing for me is I don't think it takes away from the greatness. However, if we're going to rank certain guys, like I was watching the NFL networks while working out the other day, the top 10 greatest quarterbacks. One of the guys that I have on my list was on that list who didn't win a championship. But for me, if we're going to put you the all-time greatest, like in that top 10, that Mount Rushmore, that top 5, I think a title is a requirement.
Absolutely.
Do I think it takes away from your overall greatness? Absolutely not.
No.
But if we're going to put you up on that upper echelon, I better see a ring.
At least one.
At least one.
Yes.
To put
yes, for sure.
So you guys just want to go through all of our lists or go one at a time?
Whatever we want to do.
All right.
Well, mine's going to be primarily baseball.
Hang on, man. I'm going to stop real quick.
Wow.
This guy, does he go off memory?
He's that good.
You never have
He's that
paper.
good.
You never have your phone out or
No.
nothing. I mean, that's impressive.
So, I mean, you
He
got
knows it. He knows it.
Well, you got the best hitter in baseball history, Ted Williams, was a 400 batter his whole career.
Yeah.
Never got a ring because, the Yankees ran pre-World War II baseball.
Absolutely.
And you got guys like Don Mattingly that played for 15 years for the Yankees, was an assistant coach for 2 years after that, and the year he left, they won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
You got the best power hitter of all time, Barry Bonds, never got a ring. The best contact hitter of all time, Tony Gwynn, doesn't have a ring. I mean, and then Ty Cobb, one of those guys that just back when you pitched 9 innings, you took a day rest, and you came back and you pitched 9 innings the next day. Doesn't have a ring, and it's pretty much just based with the organizations they were with when they were with. King Griffey Jr., another one, won 116 games one year, didn't make it out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go with baseball guys tonight.
When you look at it, Ted Williams is a .344 career hitter. He's a 19-time All-Star. He made not 1 but 2 tours of military duty.
Yes, he did.
And he only made it to 1 World Series, 46, lost to the Cardinals. King Griffey Jr., 630 career home runs, 13-time All-Star, was an MVP. He never even got past the ALDS. Never even got to the championship series.
Nope.
It's crazy. Ty Cobb, 12 batting titles, 4,189 hits, 366 career average. I think he only made it to 2 World Series or maybe 1.
I think it was 1.
I think it was just 1. And then Barry Bonds, he only made the 2 NLCS and only 1 World Series.
1 World Series and lost that in Game 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was up 5-0.
Yeah. I mean, it's when I saw I kind of knew Ted Williams never did because he was with the Yankees, but when I saw Ty Cobb never won one,
that was I was surprised.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
Well, guys with that many hits that just never got a ring. Because I mean, there's probably not a huge list of guys with 3,000 hits that don't have a ring, but I mean he's on the top of that list.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, look at Tony Gwynn. He won 8 batting titles. He only made the one World Series, and I'm struggling to remember if they two.
He actually made one in 01.
Yeah.
Right at the end, but he didn't get to play.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, made 2 World Series. I mean, I'm struggling to think of any other Padres.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know of any other hitter in the game of baseball. We can start back from Ty Cobb all the way to right now, who played the game and had the career that Tony Gwynn had and never won a title.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just really realistically came close.
Yes. I mean, that's just unreal.
Yeah.
Because most of the time your superstars get there.
Yeah.
And Tony Gwynn's superstar. I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely, yeah.
And one of the best, not talking about just skill, best people ever.
Oh, Tony Gwynn's a great guy.
Awesome guy.
And he was a great baseball. Steven Strasburg came from Tony Gwynn at San Diego State.
Sure
so
did.
he not only knew how to play baseball, knew how to coach it as well. All right, Hayden.
All right, so he took most of the baseball guys. The baseball guys I had, Barry Bonds, Ty Cobb, Ted Williams, but I got a bunch of NBA guys because I feel like when it comes to resume-wise, if you don't have a ring in the NBA, they can't put you at the next level.
Right.
So, I mean, here's the ones I've got. Karl Malone, one of the greats.
Yeah.
Actually, these are all greats. Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing, Steve Nash, John Stockton, Reggie Miller, Elgin Baylor. But my main 2 are, one of them's just retired, Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo, I mean, like we were talking stats wise. I'm not saying he's going to be one of the greatest ever, but stats wise, he had the resume to be one of the top, scorers ever.
See, I think this is where our debate comes in about this.
Yeah.
Is I think he was hyped to be that guy, but he never was.
Exactly. Yep.
That's how I feel about him.
When he told me Allen Iverson off air, I went, oh. He's the reason they never won a title. He's the reason they got as far as they did. He did make it to the finals, but he's a ball hog.
Yeah, he was.
That was
there was a lot of times where he should have passed and he didn't.
And his off the field stuff, his in the locker room stuff.
He was terrible in the locker room.
There weren't many guys that were fighting to play with AI.
Exactly.
I mean, not like it is today or even back then. There's not many people wanting to fight with AI. Same with Carmelo. I mean, Carmelo's a great player. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. I'm never going to argue that, but no one could kill the momentum of an offense or could stop the ball better than Carmelo. And he was on offense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like we talked about last week with Jeremy Lin, whenever he went crazy during that, one-hit wonder segment we had, when he went crazy that 12-game stretch and Carmelo came back, he kind of destroyed it. Yeah. But also, Carmelo, 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, so he had a resume to be one of the better scorers and better players of all time. It's just that I think that ring kind of separates him for that. But also, my main guy.
He has 2 gold medals.
Yeah.
I
guess that counts. It's better than
you put Carmelo in the Olympics, and he is the greatest basketball player of all time. I mean,
but yeah. So here's my number 1 for the NBA. Of course, I'm sure everyone y'all have it. Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
22.1 points per game throughout his career, 11.7 rebounds, 3.9 assists. 11-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 92-93 NBA MVP, and in 93, he went to the finals once. Yeah. He was able to make it to the finals, but they lost the Bucks in 6 games. And he's 29th in all-time scoring. So, once again, he was a big-time scorer, too, and he's probably number 1 for everybody's list. And I think that's the one thing that hurt Chuck his whole career. Of course, I know all the issues and all, all the other things. We're not going to get into that. We all know what he did. But still, Chuck was one of the greatest players in basketball, probably at that era, and he's still recognized for what he did during that time.
And he sort of was a one-man show. I mean, he didn't have many good teams in Philly. Didn't he go to the finals once in Philly with Dr. J and Moses Malone?
I thought they made a championship game. They made the Eastern Conference
Finals.
I don't think they ever made a finals.
They won the finals in '83. Philly did. That was the last time they won the finals.
And then he came into the league, right?
And then he come in the league right after that. But yeah, and even those Phoenix teams, that team he took to the finals.
Yeah.
I mean, his second best player was Dan Marley.
Yeah. I mean, he single-handedly won both of the games that they won in that series.
He
was
did.
that good.
He was that good.
And he was only 6'4" playing power forward, which you think about it nowadays. It's like that's.
I mean, I'm 6'4", so I mean, 6'4" is a small shooting guard.
Yeah, maybe a point guard.
6'4" and averaging almost 12 rebounds during his career. That's insane.
Oh, he was nasty, and of course, he's an Auburn guy.
Well,
so.
you mentioned Patrick Ewing, 11-time All-Star. He made the finals twice. I mean, we talk about the Ted Williams and the Ty Cobbs running against the Yankees. I mean, Reggie Miller, Stockton Malone. What do they all have in common? They ran into MJ.
They ran into MJ. I was about to go there.
So them Bulls got him.
Yep. And the Knicks and the Pacers, and all those great series together, and it pretty much, other than the one year they met in the conference finals, and the Knicks ran into another great team in the Houston Rockets with Drexler and with
they had
Olajuwon.
I know Kenny Smith.
Ewing made the finals twice. The second one, when they lost to Spurs, he wasn't really a part of it.
He was kind of irrelevant at that point.
He's kind of irrelevant, but Reggie Miller only made it to the finals once, got crushed by Kobe and Shaq. He was at the twilight of his career. I mean, it's amazing when we go. I was researching this. Literally, one of the sites I did my research on made a list yesterday. So I'm going through this and just going, especially those basketball guys, like some of the baseball guys, some of the hockey guys. I mean, a lot of that was self-inflicted.
Right.
But, I mean, some of these you just look at and go, I cannot believe they never won a title.
How did you not win a title?
There's one on my list. It's two actually on my list, and y'all never said them.
Yeah.
On basketball, Tracy McGrady and Penny. I mean, Penny Hardaway had Shaq.
Dude, Shaq and Penny, that 30 for 30.
I'll give you Penny. Tracy, I don't know. I'm a little
I get it, but
Tracy.
Tracy McGrady, I don't have his numbers in front of me. We can get them. Everybody thought he got one because, he actually signed with the Spurs as they started the playoff run, and then they got beat. But my first one on my list is actually a team instead of a player.
Okay, well, we'll go.
And I've got to go with them.
That's one of our lists for down the road.
Fab Five.
Oh,
yep.
None of those guys at all won a title.
Because Chris Webber was my favorite player coming up. Chris Webber, he didn't win a title in the NBA.
Yeah.
Jalen Rose didn't win one, but that Fab Five team, we'll talk about it later. But that was just unbelievable. I'm going with a hockey guy, and I'm not a big hockey fan. Was Eric Lindros?
Yeah, I mean, he was brought up as the next Gretzky.
Yes, he was. Yes, and then I think Lemieux took over the reign when Lindros couldn't do it.
Because Lindros couldn't do it or didn't want to do it.
Right.
And for as big as talented as he was, what really changed him is when he got that concussion. Scott Stevens knocked him out in the Stanley Cup
things
Finals.
I was reading about him was a concussion. And then I'm going to go into one of my favorite players of all time is Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, yep, that's who I got.
Tony Gonzalez.
Yep, I've got him on mine. Yep.
And a basketball guy that's still playing right now. He's been cut, but he's playing, and that's Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul is one of the best shooting point guards we've seen.
Yeah.
And I am a golf guy, and I put Ricky Fowler on there because Ricky was supposed to be this, and he's leading today.
Yes, I was about to say
he's leading in
US Open.
He's leading in the U.S.
Open.
and then I've got some more, and I know they're playing on AJ's list, but there's one guy that I put on my list, and I said shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And I've done just a little digging, and it's Barry Sanders.
Yeah, he was at the top of my list.
Barry Sanders, no Super Bowls, of course.
Right.
He lost in the NFC Championship game on 11 rushes and 44 yards.
Was that
played
Dallas?
Yep. He played in 6 playoff games and averaged 64 yards for 6 playoff games. Now, I know what he done in the regular season was amazing.
Yeah.
I still think he quit early in his career, and I can't get past that. I call him a quitter because he did quit. And then I get it. You're playing on one of the worst football teams play ever in that span besides the Browns.
Yeah.
But I feel like he quit.
Yeah.
And for me, I can't put him on my list.
Yeah.
And I know he's on a lot of people's list.
But to play for the Lions is, because he didn't have a very long career, but to play for the Lions as long as he did, I don't really blame him for quitting.
How many years did he play? 10?
That Lions team without
he played
him is
8 years.
nothing.
But think about it, guys. Yeah. He played in 6 playoff games in 8 years.
He won 2 of them, right?
Won 2 of them.
Yep. And
he
got
played,
blown out in the
and
AFC
he played in an
championship
NFC
game.
Championship game.
Yeah.
So really, how many guys? I mean, when you think about it, how many people actually play in the NFC Championship game?
Not many.
So
it's really hard
to get to that
there.
stage.
Yeah, you see what
it's
I'm
hard
saying?
to get to
like,
that stage.
That's what, and actually, and I'm going to make some of our Southern people proud here. I got 2 NASCAR drivers.
Oh,
I went Davey Allison and Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Davey Allison was his life got cut short.
It
is,
did, and that's a tragic.
He was on the way up when
He
that
was.
went down.
He was like nowadays the new Chase Elliott at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Denny, I'm still surprised Denny Hamlin. And you look at the guys who have won, and Denny Hamlin still hasn't won one.
And you know what the crazy thing is? Denny Hamlin's been to the Final Four. You know, they have like a
Yeah, they-
elimination
yeah,
thing,
they have to
16,
do it
12,
now.
8, 4.
Yeah.
He's been there probably 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't he's ran into different guys, you know, like teammate Kyle Busch, Mark Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick. I mean, there's a bunch of good talented drivers out there. He's been there multiple times. He just can't seem to win it.
So looking, Randy Moss had 156 career touchdowns and went to Pro Bowl 6 times. 2 Super Bowls he made with the Patriots. Last second loss on that undefeated year. Then he was with the 49ers, who just couldn't complete that big comeback against the Ravens. Barry Sanders, he only played 8 seasons, guys. 1,269 yards, 99 touchdowns. Again, only won 2 playoff games. And there's one on there, Tony Gonzalez, 3rd all-time for tight ends, 1,325 catches. He's a 14-time Pro Bowler. How many playoff games did this guy win?
None. One.
One playoff game. I mean, these sports are brutal. They're just brutal.
It's brutal.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys took out a bunch. I only think I've got 4 left, and they're actually 3. I can't count. No, 4 left. 3 football, 1 baseball. I'm going to start with the baseball, and it's personal for me. Ernie Banks.
Oh, I was going to go there, and I knew you had him.
Yeah. He's the first shortstop to hit over 500 home runs. You know how many playoff games he played in?
They didn't play in any, did
He did none. He didn't make
the
it.
The closest was 1969. They were leading the division. And then what happened? Last 25 games, he went 8-17. The Miracle Mets caught up to him, swept him. I think it was a 5-game series at Shea Stadium, the infamous Black Cat. Mets went on there. They had Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, historic team that won the World Series. They never even got close to that since then. A couple more football guys I'm going to lead up to it. Fran Tarkenton retired as the all-time passing leader in NFL history. Went to 3 Super Bowls, got blown out in all 3 of them with the Vikings.
I was going to say, wouldn't it, if I look back in his numbers, like those Super Bowls were
he
just
threw for over 40,000.
No, I'm talking about the points-wise. He got just drilled.
One was close, like the Steelers one was 16-6, but the Raiders won, and I think a Miami one where the one against Miami was pretty much a blowout. You got Jim Kelly, 5-time Pro Bowler, went to 4 Super Bowls.
For 4. God, he got and he
Scott
had a team.
Norwood.
Team.
I mean, you think about it, they revolutionized football. Today's
the running game.
He was the first, first run and shoot, first Mike Leach style quarterback.
Yes, those
Jim
just spread it out and throw it. But I mean, they had a running back. They had Thurman Thomas.
Yeah.
They had a complete team.
They did.
A complete team.
Nasty defense.
Bruce Smith. The final
Bruce
one.
Smith.
Yeah, he was on a lot of those lists.
Yeah.
I mean, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed.
Yes.
Oh, man. And the last one, and when he retired with pretty much every NFL passing record, which has since been broken, but Dan Marino.
Yep.
Over 61,000 career yards, 420 touchdowns, 2-time MVP, and only went to 1 Super Bowl his 2nd season in the NFL. I mean, I was watching, he was on that list, and they were talking about kind of the arc of his career. You know, he went to, in his first 3 seasons, or 3 of his first 4 seasons, he went through 3 AFC championship games and a Super Bowl, and then did make the playoffs for 4 straight years. I mean, you talk about a guy who, they didn't have a running game, didn't have a defense, ever. They couldn't build anything around this guy except for a few receivers that they continuously traded away. He was still that good. And again, maybe part of it was his own ego. Maybe he didn't want a running game. Maybe he didn't. He just wanted them to bring in more receivers. I wasn't behind the scenes, but God, with this sort of numbers compared to everyone else that was on that top 10 list, they put him at 8.
You said it right there, and you read things and you research.
Yeah.
I think Marino's ego
absolutely
cost him a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, I mean, all they had to do was make a trade, get a running back, get a running game.
Get a linebacker, defensive end.
Get something. And
go ahead, Dustin.
Go ahead.
Well, that 2nd season, that MVP season he had, he threw for 5,184 yards, 48 touchdowns, only had 17 interceptions, 64.2 completion rate. But then that playoff run, this dude had over 1,000 passing yards.
Yeah,
You know how hard that is?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, especially back then. Nowadays,
Yeah.
maybe
Oh, no,
not
not
so
so much, but back then.
But still, like that was just mind blowing at that time.
I'm like you. I think we know that his ego got in the way.
And you can tell by even watching him on TV. You can tell.
Yeah, he thinks very highly of himself.
He does.
And there's not a whole lot of self-awareness with him, which is fun to point that out to Dolphins fans who are really, really hurt that they never won one with Marino.
Dolphins fans, we talk about fans. That'll be another show for
Yeah.
another time. But Dolphins fans can be rough.
Yeah, and they're crazy. Like they're a different level that doesn't
they still
make
live in
sense.
1972.
Yeah, we're the greatest. Oh,
Larry
I hate when they
Zonka.
come up.
Oh my gosh! And every game they got the champagne, and then finally somebody loses, and it,
Yeah,
Come on.
I hate that too.
We did forget 2 major league guys.
Oh, who did we forget?
I think you touched on him for a second. I'm gonna say my coworker Tex, Mike Trout.
Yeah, you touched on it.
You know, is he the last 5-tool player we've seen?
I mean, he's still young. I mean, he's still got shit, but they just need to build something around.
I think LA's too much. I don't think it's there. I don't think Ohtani's the one to build around.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that they have the 2 best baseball players in the world and they don't contend for the playoffs every year is absolutely mind-blowing.
And I think that goes up the ladder. I'm not talking about play, goes up the ladder.
That's an
and the
organization.
second one for me that we didn't talk about was Roy Halladay.
Oh, great pitcher. Yeah.
You know,
No-hitter in the playoffs.
No hitter in the playoffs. And we did talk about one who you talked about. He won one World Series, and I know that's Jim. But Nolan Ryan, how many do you think he would have had many?
He was on the
pitched for like
net.
he
4
was
or
on
5 different
that's
decades, something like
that's
that.
the one he ever played in.
Yeah. I think he went to one other NLCS.
Yeah, but when he got to in our time frame in Texas, arguably the greatest pitcher ever played the game of baseball, never won a Cy Young, and he's got 1 World Series. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's amazing when you go through that.
Okay, I want to add one more player. Probably now I get he didn't have the pro career that most people thought that he could have had, but I think the greatest athlete of all time, Bo Jackson. I mean,
I don't think he was in it long enough.
He wasn't in it long enough, really, for me.
You can almost put him in a one-hit wonder category.
Yeah,
you really could.
Yeah, I thought about it last week, but he did have some prolonged success in baseball.
He did, but it wasn't. But it
long.
really, but like once he got traded to Chicago,
He was a shell of himself.
That was it. It was over at that point. But his first little bit there in '86, and then that run with Kansas City, but. I don't know that I could ever put him on that list.
Yeah, it's just too short.
Yeah, just not enough years.
All right, well, coming up next, it's our final segment of the show. It's our rant segment. Dusty's got like 10 of them, so he even broke out the iPad for it, so we're pretty excited about that. That's next on xSports Live.
A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we've provided outstanding residential and commercial services through Southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air, when you need us, we'll be there.
Do you have a small farm, a big farm, or just critters in the backyard to feed? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you need to make the short drive down to A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee today. Owner and operator Jamie Ayers has you covered and will treat you right. That's A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee.
This is the xSports Network.
Welcome back to xSports Live, brought to you by Hinie's BBQ from Hinie's BBQ. It's our final and our favorite segment of the show. Guys, it's time to rant. Michael, we'll start with you.
Man, listen, I have nothing to rant about this week. I just saw Dusty come in with the iPad, and I'm just really anticipating what he's got to say.
Okay.
I'll keep mine short. Mine's mainly, of course, NBA again, once again, but also this is something that just came out yesterday. Zion Williamson.
Oh.
So
it's going to be sponsored by Golden Corral.
Yeah.
What a joke.
Like, this dude, y'all know he's like supposed to be like, he was the next big thing coming out.
Yeah.
Like, he was the
he's
number
big, all
one
right.
pick.
Oh, yeah, he's big. He's bigger than I am.
He was the number one pick coming out of that draft. Pelicans are looking to trade this dude.
Yeah.
Who wants him?
Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte wants him. Yeah.
Yeah, because they want it because Jordan's selling team.
Yeah. So, when you got a guy like Zion Williamson, I think this is more on Zion because the Pelicans have invested so much in you. The only thing that the Pelicans have done is for him to keep that stipulation of him being under 295 pounds.
Yeah.
When you got a guy like that,
You got to stay under a nose tackle weight
Yeah.
to play basketball.
That's
yeah.
His poor knees.
That is just ridiculous, guys.
Like,
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
was
No,
like,
you're
thought
right.
hit
You're
my
completely
mind.
right. But still, I just think Zion needs to get his act together. Now, we all know who else in that draft needs to get his act together. But still, Zion, please just, like, do what's best for the team. I mean, like, you're about to get traded for the second overall pick. They're looking to move on from you. And not many teams, at this point, you're at the point where you haven't played enough games and they're looking at injury prone that you might not be playing in the league next 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's my rant. So,
Oh, he won't be in the league in 5 years.
yeah.
Not a
And,
chance.
and I hope he does, but by the way
Yeah,
he's
I mean,
trending,
a
it's not
special
looking good.
talent.
Yeah.
Maybe on the football field.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just like that Hayden even looked at the camera. That's the first time he did that.
Yeah.
Like
I know, man.
he's just like a passion plea
This
for
was
Zion.
this was
right?
passion.
Please.
Yeah. Because I love Zion.
Get
I
off
love
Little
his
Debbie's
game.
and go to
Yes,
Slim
please.
Fast.
I love Zion.
As soon as he got drafted, I said
He could
one
be sponsored
thing.
with Larry the Cable Guy. Oh man, well done.
Let's go.
All right, my first one, I'm going to NBA. And this one should mean a lot
Okay.
to anybody who's ever won this award.
Okay.
How in the world are you interviewed after you've been presented the MVP trophy and your response is, oh, I left it in this locker room over here, but I don't know where it is now? Joker, how do you lose your trophy? Guys, that's a disgrace to the NBA. This guy is more worried about going back home than he was trying to celebrate with his team. That's all he wants to do is go back home. You know what? Move. Just quit. You've won your title. You're the greatest basketball player we've ever seen in our life, so they say. I'm done with you. I'm done with the Joker. He is a joke to me.
Oh man,
The unenthusiastic, the one video of him doing.
I mean, the best thing
That
he's
killed
done
it
is
for
he
me.
tackled Jamal Murray in a swimming pool. Did y'all see that?
no, I haven't.
They're
seen
in
that
the
yet.
locker room, and they're in it looked like they're in a Motel 6, and it's this swimming pool look like it's about this deep, and it's about as big as this table. And he picked him up, and they jump in. That's about the most excitement he's shown. I mean, I just don't get it. Like, does he not want to be here? Like, was this just a game? I understand it's a game, but like, does he not realize what he's done? I mean, he's went on this magical run.
Right.
He has set stats that may not ever be touched again by a center, and it's like a joke.
Yeah. I'm gonna be sad because the NBA is ending because I'm gonna miss my weekly Dusty Joker rant.
Dude,
He'll find something to do this summer.
I'll find something.
Yeah.
And my second
we
one,
have to get that sponsored
as
somehow.
they're watching me click on my iPad here. Conor McGregor. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
In the same basketball game that you were at, you were invited by the Miami Heat to come put on a skit dressed up in a mascot uniform. You punch the other mascot and has to go to the hospital. So that's ridiculous. And now these allegations that he has raped a woman during Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Why can't Conor McGregor go to a basketball game or go wherever he goes
and be normal?
Why does the spotlight have to always be on him about all these allegations? It's ridiculous. I mean, I really hope that Dana White sees this and completely just gets rid of him in the UFC. Just get him out of there. I know he's got a fight coming up or supposed to have a fight, and I can't think of the guy's name. I watched a little bit of the interview.
He's past the prom. It doesn't matter anyway.
I hope this. I know, but I hope this dude just. I mean, I would pay money to watch him break his face.
Conor McGregor's one of those guys that you forget about for a little bit, and then something like this happens, and he's all over the news before a fight. It's always right before a fight.
Yes, it's always right before a fight. I mean, the last time, what was he throwing the chairs at the bus
during Khabib's?
Yeah,
and he ruined a fighter's career because he got glass in his eye.
Yes, I mean, just go. Nobody cares, Conor. I'm looking at nobody cares about you and your whiskey business. Or all your other crap that you do. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the one guy who enabled it all, Dana White. It's
White.
hard to punish somebody when you've enabled it.
Yeah, because Dana White thought it was cool at first.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got this guy who's acting all crazy. He's looking at all the publicity.
Yeah, but when police get involved, that's when it's not as fun.
It's not as fun.
I was like, crazy's fun until it gets to this level where he's knocking out mascots and throwing chairs.
Throwing water bottles at Nate Diaz, no one cares.
No.
Like, it's funny.
Yeah.
But, you're throwing stuff and breaking windows, or he had that assault. He's had 2 assault charges.
Yes.
One in Ireland, one in New York City, and then all this stuff comes up.
I mean,
like y'all said, he's trying to do everything he can to get the spotlight. That's what it comes down to.
Yes. What it comes down to. That's it for me.
That's it?
That's
Okay.
it. I'm good right now.
Well, I really don't have one. I've got one brewing.
I'm surprised that you don't have one.
Well, actually, I really do, but I'm waiting for something to happen.
Okay.
Because something happened in the religion world this week.
Okay.
So, or I should say in the Christianity world this week. I've looked on social media, probably know what it is. I'm waiting for
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I'm waiting to see what happens this Sunday. I'm still going to rant about it next week. It just how I ran about it, who I ran about. I'm just waiting to see what happens, and it's on my mind. I can't get it off my mind because obviously it's personal for all of us who have very important women in our lives.
Absolutely.
So I'm waiting to see what happens, and if what I think. I don't even want to say that. I don't even want to predict it. I don't want to go down that road just yet. But I'm going to table my rant because it might be. No one ever thought I would be ranting about, religion or Christianity like that. But it's going to happen next week. I just want to wait and see what happens first.
I just got a text message from Clint Brazier.
Yeah.
It says, "I got one. Give me 3 minutes." So I'm assuming Clint Brazier is.
Is he here?
Coming in the door.
Yeah, I got that text message too. Oh,
that could be
we're gonna have to
interesting.
kill some time here for a little bit. He's got a rant, or is he?
I don't know if it's a rant or has he got somebody that we forgot about that's not on our list. I guess it'll be a surprise.
Yeah,
With
talk
him?
amongst yourselves.
I give a small rant. I think the College World Series Jello shot thing is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
My wife didn't even know that was a thing.
And I saw it last year and I thought it was cool, but once I started realizing that half the people that bought those Jello shots just ended up throwing them away afterwards, because you buy 20 or 30, they're like $2, $3, $4, something like that, and then you just throw them away. I think it kind of just inflates the score and it makes it look stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued to see if Stanford does better this year than they did last year. They were there for a week and they only bought like 80 Jello shots or something like that. So I wanted to see if they can get their heads out of the book long enough to get
the
some.
way I described it to my wife is the teams that stay the longest obviously rack up the Jello shots, and always the smart school, whether it be Stanford or Vandy, are always the ones that finish last place no matter how long they stay.
But those SEC teams, those LSU's, the Ole Misses, the Arkansas, Tennessee, they're going to be fun.
I've never had a Jello shot, so it sounds appealing, but then at the same time it sounds gross.
Yeah.
Like frozen or congealed. Ugh.
I'm under the age of 21, so I have no opinion.
No, you can't say if you have an opinion or not. Yeah, we know about you, college kids. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I have no opinion on that, but
yeah,
He's just a baby.
Here we were talking about 1998, and these two weren't even born yet.
That's terrible.
Hey, also, can we give credit though? That documentary was good.
Yeah,
listen,
it was
LeBron
great.
James
Yeah.
has been in,
That's why I
LeBron
based
has been
my-
in the
that's
NBA
why I
like
based
2
my
months
questions
longer
on.
than I've been alive. So let's just put that in perspective.
Speaking of
Okay, that's a name. That's a name we can't use on the show.
Who?
When I'm on the panel,
Oh, here he's coming. Oh my gosh.
He's
He
yelling.
yeah, he's
He's
yelling. We got a mic for you. Wow, that's
Speaking of
this is breaking news. Dun,
LeBron
dun,
James,
dun,
dun,
dun.
dun.
have you shown him the?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got a good.
You got to see this, Dusty.
Yeah, it's a tweet. It's a picture of a tweet. It's without Googling, name a famous historic battle, and it says LeBron versus the second page, and it's a bunch of pictures of him reading books. All right, Clint.
Uh-oh.
We got you a mic, and he's ready to roll.
He's ready to go.
I've missed a few weeks.
Yeah.
I've got one fired up in the hole. How you fellas doing?
Man, we're doing good.
Rocking.
Ready to go?
Hey, listen, by the way, Jello shots can be a good thing, but they can be a real bad thing, too. in my experience. Was anybody's rant, because I just kind of was in and out of Etheridge where that, for some reason, I don't know why.
There's a dead spot right there.
Another good rant is, why is Etheridge like Egypt?
Yeah, why is it
Why can we not get a cell
2023 and
tower
we
down
can't
through there?
we
And there's
can't talk
about a
about
5-mile stretch where you got no service.
Listen, I'm just happy Verizon's usable in Lawrenceburg now. I mean, there was a while where that was a dead spot.
But my rant, have any of y'all talked about the Skip Bayless in the last couple of weeks?
No,
Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp debacle.
No, I haven't wanted to.
I don't
want. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to talk.
Well, the other day was Shannon's last show, and I like Shannon Sharp. The only thing I don't like is he thinks LeBron's better than Jordan. That's a whole nother debate. But other than that, he seems to be a pretty stand-up guy. Right. He kind of calls it down the middle. To me, he's a lot like Charles Barkley. Everything is based on his opinion and what he sees. But then you've got somebody like Skip Bayless, who, let's not forget, said Johnny Manziel would be bigger in the city of Cleveland than LeBron James was. Okay?
Yeah.
Who literally will run down Shannon Sharp's credentials to prove that Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. Well, I think pretty much everybody knows that.
You shouldn't even have to run anybody
I don't know
down.
why you have to run down a co-host to do that. But that's my whole rant is what's wrong with these guys. Charles Barkley said it best. I think you, AJ, and Dusty know when we're on the show, I try to identify and bring out my inner Charles Barkley. I try to be the Charles Barkley of this show. But he said, man, I didn't know that you could get paid off if you work with an idiot. and that's what Shannon Sharp did. He got paid off because he works with the idiot. So I'm just waiting on my check.
I'm waiting on mine.
I'm waiting on mine, too.
And talking about Shannon, but talking about Skip Bayless, do you know he told his wife this? I mean, I've read this. I put sports before you and the kids.
Right.
Like this guy literally puts his family behind sports. And he's an idiot.
Well, one of his brothers is one of the most famous Mexican chefs in the entire world.
That's what Charles Barkley said. I love his brother. He's a great cook.
Yeah, he's one of the good. He has a Mexican restaurant empire. Rick Bayless is his name. There's no relationship. All because Rick doesn't like sports.
Right.
Great human being, Skip Bayless is.
Yeah. I was coming into town, was catching the end, and I just thought I'd mess with you. You really didn't have to stay on for me because my rant wasn't much. But again,
I mean, Kevin's going on vacation. It's not like
whoa, man! I didn't get run by us.
Y'all need any help?
Yeah.
Oh, is this who we got right here? Oh, boy, you're in for it.
You need to come back next week just for this kid.
Oh, we're fixing to have fun with him.
Yeah. Hey, but two things. I want to brag on my youngest baby. She played really, really hard 2 days. Had a hard-fought 3-point loss against Ezel Harding today, and then had a really, really good game and beat Clark Raines, the winningest coach in Tennessee basketball history, Lamar Rogers. Beat them. They had a good camp. They got one more day tomorrow, but big shout-out to Emily Brazier. They're having to do a lot of starters without a lot of players, so had some young kids step up. But last, thank you guys for everything this last month. Thank everybody watching, because my family couldn't have got through this without this whole community, and we're still trying and we're still going, but thank you all. We appreciate all the calls, texts, prayers, and love, because I promise you we felt it, and that's why I was doing about 90 through Etheridge, so I appreciate it.
Well, good thing that they have a dead spot because the speed radars don't work.
Right. Yeah. For some reason, they still work.
Those still work. Those work off an antenna.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Clint, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah,
we miss you, man.
Enjoyed it.
Miss
Miss you on
having
the show.
here.
Well, it won't be long. You know what I was thinking? Volleyball is just right around the corner. We're going to be starting this cycle all over.
And I thought about you earlier. I mean, I couldn't do much, but I had Daryl Boston sitting right here, and I had to bring up a little bit of our basketball, from back in the day.
Yeah. Hey, best middle school coach I ever had.
Ever.
Of course, he's the only middle school coach.
Yeah. I give props to Wayne Richardson.
No, he did. Me and Dusty's age, kids going through there, you couldn't ask for two better people.
Not at all.
Just being mentors. And
that's what I told him. I mean, some of the
part,
stuff that we learned, you take with you.
Yep.
And I know, and that's.
And I'll always call him Coach for it. If I see him, I don't.
Yes.
I don't say Mr. Boston. I say, hey, Coach.
It's that's what I called him when I walked in. He smiled at me. Hey, Coach. It's but I always refer to Mr. Richardson as Mr. Richardson.
Yeah, I don't want him to whip me because he probably still could.
He probably still could. Yeah.
Well, for Michael Marks, Hayden Burks, Dusty Kaiser, Clint Brazier, I'm AJ Good, and also for future producer extraordinaire Sam Camp, and for the man, the myth, the legend, producer extraordinaire Kevin Wright. This is AJ Good here on xSports Live. See you guys once again next week.
This is the xSports Network.